in 3 John chapter 1, verses 2, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper. You prosper in all aspects, financial prosperity, social prosperity, academic prosperity, all sort of prosperity you can think of. It is a wish and the will of God for you to prosper. And he says, and be in health, right? So being in good health is a major concern of God. He needs you on this earth for an assignment. And before you can accomplish that assignment, you have to be in good health. You cannot be on a sick bed or, broken into pieces in your sofa and, accomplish the assignment of God. It might not be possible, right? So we need you to be in good health. That is a primary concern of God. And the Bible has put in place so many things that we can live. In the days of Israelites, he tells them, don't eat this, do not eat that, do not eat that. Not because he wanted them to restrict the kind of food, but for their own good health. All right. And it's written countless times in the Bible that abstain from alcohol, do not drink, do not be drunkard. And he said, Galatians chapter 5, verses 22, he says, drunkards, drunkards are part of the sins that will lead you to hell. Not aside from the righteousness part of it, it's also good for our own health. And the good thing is, even science today do want people to abstain from alcohol. Doctors, sometimes you go to hospital and say, do you drink a lot? They want people to stick from alcohol, smoking, and all that, because it is not only for righteousness' sake, but for your own good health. So, beloved, I welcome you all. Join us for the few minutes we're going to spend to learn something great about your own health. Let me just go ahead and introduce our guest. It's not my show. It's his show. So I'll leave everything to him. He is a very handsome gentleman born in Togo. Togo is a small country located in western part of Africa. Besides Ghana, some people say, Ghana colonized Togo, but, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so he was born and raised in Togo. That's where he had his high school education. After that, he came to China in 2006. He came to China let me remember, 2006, where was I? I think I was in primary. I don't remember. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want him to feel like he's too old. No. All right. So he came to China to study. He did his medical education in Sun Yat-sen University. Those who don't know, Sun Yat-sen University is one of the best universities in China. In fact, the whole Guangdong province, I think, is the best university. I stand to be corrected, but yeah, it's one of the best. So that's why he had his medical training, and he graduated this year with PhD in gastroenterology. Yeah, I have to take my time on this. Mercy. Gastroenterology. That is what he got PhD. I don't know what it is. He will tell us. And currently, he's working as a physician in the 3rd affiliated hospital in Sun Yat-sen University, located in Guangzhou, Tianhe. That's where he works, the 3rd affiliated hospital. So he's been in China for so long. He speaks English, he speaks Chinese, he speaks French, and Ewe and other languages, multilingual. Very smart guy. On top of that, the best thing is he's a kingdom believer. So without much ado, let's put our hands and welcome Dr. Gerald Abasa.
Thank you very much, Dr. Frank. I appreciate it. It was like a great introduction. I didn't know that I was all those things. Thank you. Yeah, so as Dr. Frank has said, my name is Gerald Abasa, and then I'm a gastroenterologist, and I do interventional endoscopy. Yeah, those are really hard work. But basically, we study and then we treat diseases of the digestive system. So from the esophagus up till down there, your colon, rectum, anus, we do all those things. So yeah, and I've been here in China for a while now. So yeah, I'm not any younger. Anyway, he gave a really nice scripture about the third book of John, the first chapter, verse 2, which says, "Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well." So, of course, we are Christian, we pray a lot, and we fast, we do all the kind of spiritual things. But God wants us to be healthy. He wants us to know uh, about the body He has created, and He wants us to live a good and healthy life. That's why He has given His grace and His knowledge and wisdom to some people to discover things about our complicated body that He has created. And then tonight we will discuss a little bit of some issues that can happen in our body, in God's creation, which is God's temple. So we're gonna see some troubles that can happen inside there, especially in the digestive system. So, uh, and then, so we're gonna talk about colorectal cancer. And colorectal cancer, basically just the cancer of your large intestine. So, why do we want to talk about this colorectal cancer thing and then the colonoscopy things? I'm gonna go into detail about those, but then we have to know that cancer has become a big concern to so many of us, especially in the recent years. We hear cancer of all type of cancer from here and there, and then I'm sure you guys have relatives or someone that you know that has passed away due to cancer. So it's something that is serious and that can affect every part of our body. So today we're going to talk about cancer that affect our large intestine, which we call colon. And then we have to know that excluding skin cancer, the cancers of the colon is now by date is the third most common cancer diagnosed in the United States. So, and then the American Cancer Society has estimated the number of colorectal cancer cases in the United States this year to be over 100,000 new cases just in 2022. We have like over 106,000 new cases of colon cancer. And then for the rectal cancer itself, they have registered over 44,000 new cases of rectal cancer just in this year 2022. But the good news is once it's detected earlier, you have a really good chance to be cured from it. You know, those are because we hear like when you have cancer, it's like a death sentence, you know. But those are the few cancers God has given so far the human beings knowledge to completely cure, you know. And so if you detect it earlier, you have higher chance of being healed from it. That's why we want people to be aware of it. That's why we want people to get tested so that we can catch those things early and give them the best treatment that we have. So we're gonna move to the real things now. I want to talk a little bit of what is colorectal cancer. Before that, let me see if I can share my screen here to show you some. All right, can I get my screen?
Yeah, we can see your PPT.
All right. So basically on the left side, this is like the digestive system. That's what I study. That's what we do. So I basically cover the whole thing from the esophagus up to down to the anus. But then today we're gonna talk about the colon and the rectum. So we know that cancer can affect, as I said before, everywhere from up here till down here. But then any cancer that affect, okay, a little bit of anatomy here, we can see that on the left side, our colon, it's like one square shape. And then from the lower part where the appendix is, that's where, okay, according to the way your faces travel toward it, we call this first part the ascending colon. And then the top part, we call it the transverse colon. And then down here is the descending colon, the sigmoid colon. And then the rectum is the area that connects the whole large intestine to our anus. So any cancer that affects, or that starts, I should say, anywhere here is called colon cancer. And then if it affects the rectum, it's called rectal cancer. So altogether, we call both of it colorectal cancer. So that is basically what we'll be talking about tonight. So I hope you guys have a little bit of understanding about what we're gonna be talking about. So let me stop the sharing for now. So we have found, or we can say that people have noticed that the majority of colorectal cancer is start from something we call polyps. Not all of them, but a big majority. And then what is polyp? Polyp, we can just say it's what you have, just like a pimple, what you have first before getting cancer. We can just talk about polyp as maybe a stubborn kid, a stubborn kid does not kill you, just make noise. It's there, it's not good, it's there, but it doesn't cause much trouble, And then when you don't take good care of that stubborn kid, which is the polyp, it can develop, get bigger, and then become maybe a murderer, or I don't know, a cancer. So now that we know that the majority of the colorectal cancers come from the polyp, we try to find those polyps in the early stage so that we can treat them, so that it don't evolve into cancer. We have different type of polyps. We have those that are not so mild, like those that are caused by inflammation and all those stuff. And then we have those that we call adenomas. The adenomas are the one that we are concerned of, because those are the ones that in the high majority of cases will evolve into cancer. So I will show you guys somehow what I meant by polyps and all. Sorry for carrying you guys around. So I hope you can see my PPT here. So back to our colon. So as I said, those bad guys here, they are the polyps. Here is the healthy colon, the normal one. The lining is very smooth, nothing rising up. But then on the other side, on the right side, you can see there are two stubborn keys, that start to grow out there. Those are what we look for at the early stage of cancer. Those are what we try to get rid of, so that they don't evolve or don't progress into cancer. So so basically, that's what colorectal cancer is. It's abnormal growth of the lining of our intestine, because we know that the way God has created our body is like a cycle. The cells has to grow, they have to multiply, and eventually they have to die. But then the cancer cells are those type of cells that refuse to obey the law. They grow out of proportion. They don't want to die. They don't want to work. They don't want to pay any taxes. They are just there growing and multiplying randomly and causing trouble. So those are what cancers are. Cancer cells, they multiply and they don't want to die. So they grow, they get bigger in size, and then they spread all over, and then they cause trouble. And when it does that in the intestine, we call it the colorectal cancer. So what causes those things? What is the cause of colorectal cancer? unfortunately, we don't have any precise specific cause that we can tell you that, okay, this is what causes, the colon cancer. However, we have noted some risk factors that predispose in people to develop those type of cancer. And then once you are aware of those risk factors, when you avoid them, then you can at least get away, relatively away from those type of cancer. So one of the major risk factors of colorectal cancer is the age. The older you get, the more risk you have of getting colorectal cancer. Basically, any type of cancer. One of my professors used to say, if you live long enough, you're definitely gonna get at least maybe one type of cancer. It's just that we don't live long enough to have those cancer. And that's because of the environment we live in, the pollution and all those type of stuff. But then with age, we are exposed to cancerogen stuff, and then that will be also a part of what we're gonna talk later. When you start, when you get old, you have to have a good relationship with your doctor so that he can detect those malignancy early in your life. Number two risk factor is some lifestyle factors that can expose someone to develop a colorectal cancer. And then those are like maybe lack of regular physical activities. So people don't move a lot, people sit too much, people don't exercise. Science or the research has found that that group of people, they have higher risk of developing cancer, especially colorectal cancer, compared to those that maybe work out at least 30 minutes, 3 times a week, or they move a lot. And then those that have diet low in fruit and vegetables, those people too are in high risk of developing colorectal cancer. Those that eat low fiber and then really high fat diet, those that eat a diet that is high in processed meats, all those lifestyle expose us to higher risk of developing basically all type of cancer, especially colorectal cancer. And then being overweight or obese also predispose one to develop colorectal cancer. And that's like Dr. Frank has said right now, alcohol consumption and tobacco use, those are some factors that we can say those are some preventable factors that can also expose one to colorectal cancer. So if you are aware of those things, so you know what to do, to get away or to get far from that evil disease. God has given us the ability to discover those things and then to share it. So I think it's wise for us to be aware of the situation and make action, take action in our life and change some lifestyle, have some good lifestyle so that we can avoid this type of diseases. We have other risk factors. If you have like a personal or family history of colorectal cancer, like if someone in your family can be first-degree relative, like your dad, your mom, or your kids, or even if it's second-degree relative, like your uncle and all, if you have that history of colon cancer in your family, that means you have higher risk of getting it compared to someone who doesn't have that risk factor, who doesn't have any family member with colorectal cancer. So if you know that you have someone in your family, maybe your dad or your mom, passed away due to colorectal cancer, you have to be more aware of your lifestyle. You have to have you have to take better care of your health and then know when to start screening, checking yourself, looking for those evil polyps to get rid of them. And then we have some unfortunate diseases like inflammatory bowel disease. If you have those things, maybe in the long term, I'm sure you guys have read about Crohn's disease and all. Those things can increase your risk of developing cancer, colon cancer. And then we have some other family and genetic stuff that also can affect our health, our colon. So the most important thing here is that we need to be aware of the risk factors. we need to know our family history. That's why you can see even in the Bible, they have genealogy, in the Chronicles, they have names and all. Even in our life, we need to know our family line. We need to know which genetic disease we have in our family. We need to know who got cancer, who got which type of cancer. That being aware of those situations will, maybe enlighten us more to go and know more about those diseases and know more about how to prevent them. So we are talking about colorectal cancer, and what are the signs? How does it present? How do you know that we have colorectal cancer? Unfortunately, again, there is no specific sign or symptoms that you can develop. When you have cancer, the majority of the time when you have it, you are asymptomatic. You don't feel anything. You feel good. You feel great. That's why people, they don't go to get checked, and then once they start having symptoms, it's always almost too late. However, there are some non-specific things that we can feel in our body that can alert us of maybe we might be having some issue with our colon. We might be having some early stage of cancer also. Things like the change in our bowel habits, maybe unexplained constipation, diarrhea, or maybe you feeling that your bowel does not empty. Like after going to the toilet, you feel like it's not completely empty. You still feel like there's still some stuff left there. Those are like signs, for you to know or to realize that your colon or your rectum might be having some issue. Some people have blood in their stool when they have colorectal cancer. You have to know that blood in the stool can be due to so many things. And then the most common cause of blood in the stool is not colorectal cancer. It's mainly maybe in adult, it might be hemorrhoid. So that's why people feel like, oh, I'm having blood in my stool, is probably hemorrhoid, and they don't get checked. But then maybe beside that hemorrhoid somewhere there, you have a cancer growing slowly, and which is bleeding, which is causing the blood in the stool. So you need to be aware of those things. And then sometimes abdominal pain. Yeah, abdominal pain is very common often. But then when you're having an unexplained abdominal pain or cramps or bloating, it can be due to maybe indigestion. But then keep in your mind that when it persists, it might be due to a cancer that you're developing in your colon. And some people want some weight loss, unexplained weight loss. You'll be eating well, but then you're decreasing weight. People might think it's a good thing, like this for ladies, might think that, oh, I'm doing good, I'm eating a lot, I'm losing weight. No, you have to be aware of that. It might be a cancer. When weight loss can be a sign for almost all the cancer, because those cancer cells, as I said before, they don't work, they grow, they consume your energy, they consume whatever is around there, and they destroy you. You lose weight. So those are the signs and the symptoms. We don't have to be worried whenever you have those things, but then you have to keep in your mind that there is a possibility of you presenting signs and symptoms of colorectal cancer when you see those things, when you see those changes in your life, and then you don't lose anything going to get checked. When people feel like, oh, if I don't get checked, then I won't. They won't see anything. They are diagnosing me because I went there to get checked, and that's the wrong way to think, because we really hope that we can catch those things at the early stage so that we can give you the appropriate treatment. So those are the signs and symptoms of colorectal cancer. I hope you guys will keep some of them in your mind. I can go to them again really quick, like those unexplained constipation, diarrhea, unexplained bloating, blood in the stool, abdominal pain, cramps, bloating, weight loss, anemia, or mass. Maybe you're feeling some mass in your abdomen. You're taking a shower and then you feel like you are growing some mass somewhere. Those are signs that, those are alarm signs that you have to go and seek for consult from a doctor. So once you go to,
Dr. Abasa, thank you very much. This is really awesome. I feel like I'm in a lecture room. I'm listening attentively, not to miss any point. So
So I hope you didn't for that.
yeah, take a little bit of sip of water, and I just want to chip in here with a few questions and comments. So, audience, last time, a couple of weeks ago, as I said, when I hosted one doctor and a researcher who is a cancer immunologist, I think she's here. Yeah, they all talked about the same pattern. She talked about different types of cancers and the causes and all that. And the other doctor talked about hypertension, as I've said, diabetes, and they all have the same pattern, just as Dr. Abasa has just enumerated. So, this is the pattern: lack of exercise, eating habit, drinking, and some sort of lifestyle that we copy from others, smoking and all that. We may think it's a youthful exuberance. We may think, oh, I'm having fun, I'm young, let me have fun, let me chill, let me go out, it's party time, it's Christmas, it's birthday, let me go chill. At the end of the chilling, you are giving yourself a cancer. All right. We are not intimidating you. That's why so many people don't want to go for checkup and all that. They'll be intimidated by the results. But the thing is, prevention, as we say, prevention is better than cure, right? It's good to derive yourself. It's good to deny yourself of certain lifestyle now, so that in future you will not use all your spendings and your hard-earned money, curing diseases that may not even be cured. All right, so let's try as much as possible. He talked about exercise. I love exercise. He likes exercise. If you can see him, he's well-built, fit man over there. So why does everyone talks about exercise? Every doctor talks about exercise, fighting diabetes, hypertension, cancer, kidney problems, these problems, that. Everyone talks about exercise. So when you treat yourself good exercise of about 30 minutes a day, you are doing good to prevent all of these diseases. All right. So someone said, which kind of exercise? So I think doctor will talk about that. So doctor, note that question. But in my suggestion, we have a lot of exercise, treadmill in a gym. If you don't have money to register in a gym, you don't have to force yourself. If we have a lot of places here in China, fortunately, or if you don't, even if you're not in China, there are places you can run, go for jogging, early morning jogging or evening jogging, depending on the time is that is available for you. You can also do brisk walking, walking fast, not the normal pace of walking, brisk walking. If you like methods like me, like Dr. Abasa, you can go to the gym, do some weightlifting. The good thing is you're building yourself, getting a very fine physical physique, physical stature, whereas you're also preventing diseases. So you'll be, getting two things. You're getting your dream body. You're also getting you're also preventing some sort of loss of diseases, or sicknesses or illness. So let's treat our bodies it's not easy. Sometimes you're tired, you go to work and all that, but do not, as I always say, you are only responsible. You're the only person responsible for your own health, not your parents, not your government, not everybody. You are the person responsible for your good health. So, yeah, Doc, coming back to the main topic now, you talked about courses and you talk about food, like abstaining from food that is rich or full of fat and all that. What about other kinds of food, like spicy food? Some people like spicy food, right? If the food is not mixed with spices, we don't enjoy it, we don't feel it, we don't love it. So do a lot of spices also cause some the cancers you're talking about here?
Yeah, I know. Ghana food, those banku and all comes with
I
hot
know,
spicy.
right?
So you can calm down. You can eat your hot pepper banku in peace. So far there hasn't been any research or scientific proof that eating a lot of spice, it can give you cancer.
Mhm.
However, we know that when you irritate too much, when you eat spicy food, it irritates your bowel, your gut, your esophagus, your stomach, and all. It can give you some other discomfort, but not cancer. So far,
Mm.
that's what we know, inside. Yeah. So
Mm.
go ahead and yeah. And then
Okay.
for Dr. William has asked a question then too about exercise. I can quickly say something about it. Like the human body, God did not create our body to stay still. God created us to move, to exercise, to work. Someone was asking like, is it possible that Jesus was fat? I said, no way, Jesus cannot be fat. The guy walks like miles, crossing places, and also he cannot be fat. So nowadays, with the lifestyle we don't have time to work. We have cars, we have any type of different means of transportation. So it gives us it makes us lazy. So to overcome that, we need to just make sure we are sweating. Any kind of exercise that can make you sweat for 30 minutes, anything that can increase your heart rate, is good for you, for your whole body. So yeah, whatever you can do, whatever you like, exercise, go for it. 30 minutes, as long as your heart rate is increasing, as long as you're sweating, you're good. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's really great. Adding to the exercise, you can also find a sport that you're really interested in, like football, badminton, table tennis, basketball. These are sports that you have fun. You have fun doing it. Like you enjoy it. In the process, you are exercising. So if you are the type who probably like will feel lazy to go out, just do some jogging or brisk walking, you can find a sporting activity that can arouse your interest, that can excite you. So whilst you're having fun chatting with others, you're also exercising your body. But you just have to add it to your schedule, right? If you're the lazy type, get a partner, someone who can always call you, push you. Hey, let's do this, let's go here. Let's exercise. Exercise, as the Bible says, it profited but little. So even the Bible acknowledges the fact that exercise profits. Is a profit to the body. So we should not. It is not scriptural if you take it out of your lifestyle, right? Yeah, you can obey everything in the Bible, but if you take exercise from it, you are not obeying the totality of God's word. So let us get ourselves into it, and it will help us. So Dr. Abasa, I will allow you to go on. As someone questions come, I'll break in. I think someone has a question here. Okay,
Yeah.
so from
That's how
Sister
I say.
Judy, between men and women.
Between men and women, you have
Okay,
risk of cancer.
all right. Also, so take that question before you go on.
All right. Basically, saying that there are some studies that have shown that men have relatively higher risk, compared to women to have colorectal cancer. However, what we have seen or what we see in the clinical practice is like that balance, is relatively the same. So men and women, they have almost the same risk of getting colorectal cancer. That's why they have to be screened. It's not just a male disease, it's just for human beings. So yeah. Okay, the second question, I will come back to that. I still have that on my, she's asking about what age should someone start getting checked up. Yeah, we'll come back to that. I have planned to share stuff about it. So I will cover that.
Mm. Okay, so just another quick question. We are learning, right? This medical learning, so we have to learn and learn well. Doc, we have people who are into gay and anal sex and all that. Do that also cause colorectal cancer?
Yeah, okay.
Like,
We have
yeah.
to be really careful, especially when you go online and find stuff. People do researches and then they publish whatever they want to publish, and if the one or the journal that is in charge of the publication is maybe someone who is involved in those type of practice, he might basically say that okay, it's fine. But then we have to go back to, that's what God has given us knowledge, brain to. So from the point of view, from the biblical point of view, of course, it's bad. So, however, we have to know that scientifically, if you irritate too much something, when you irritate too much something, you're gonna get, we can say like upset, and react. In the same way, when you're involved in anal sex, because that is not the way God has created that organ. Of course, it puts you in higher risk of developing a lot of diseases, but can, however, increase your risk of getting cancer. Even though there are so many studies that have been, refused to be published, because we know the world we live in now, we are trying our best to accept everyone and then, condone any type of practicing. However, there are researchers that are not published that suggest that might put someone at risk when you're involved in those type of behavior. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move to the next part. Talking about how is the colorectal cancer diagnosed, because once you have the symptoms and then you go to hospital, of course, the doctor will run some tests, to see what is going on in you. And then the first thing is to know, the doctor, of course, gonna know or try to know how you're feeling, what brought you here. So those are the signs and the symptoms we talked about will help us make the diagnosis. And then we have some blood tests, blood tests to check if everything is fine inside you. We have some markers, we call them, and let me not get too deep in those things, but we have some stuff. When you have a cancer produces stuff that are released in your blood. So doctors have the ability to check some of those stuff, and then some markers are specific to some cancers. So we have some markers that are specific to colorectal cancer that we can check to see if you have them or not. And then we have some tests like X-rays, some CT scans, some MRI, ultrasound that can help the doctor localize where the cancer is. And diagnostic colonoscopy is like the one you get when you start having the symptoms, because we have one you get when you go for a screening, that's for a general checkup. That's screening colonoscopy. But the diagnostic colonoscopy is the same procedure, they just have different name depending on when you go there. That is the most effective way to see whether you have a colorectal cancer or not. Because the colonoscopy, I will talk about it later, is just like like going inside there with a camera to see if you have a cancer or not. If you don't see it, you don't have a cancer. If you see it, you have a cancer. It's just as clear and simple as that. And then you have biopsy. The biopsy is, we call it the gold standard test that you can do. We take a bunch of tissue. If you see a mass there, whatever you see, you take a bit of it and then go and test it to see if it's cancer or not. Sometimes you might see a mass, but then it's not a cancer. So we need to do the biopsy to know what exactly it is, which type of cancer you are having. So now I'm back to Sister Judy's question about screening for colorectal cancer. And then she asked something about, at what age we should start. So why do we even need to screen? Because I talked about the bad guys, the stubborn kids, the polyps before. Our goal is to be able to see them under colonoscopy. I've said that colonoscopy, you go in there with the camera and then you see. So once you see the polyps, those stubborn kids, you want to take them out, to remove them, to resect them, to take them out of the colon, because those are the ones that will grow and develop and become cancer. So, and then thank God it takes time, for a polyp, just like for a stubborn kid to become a murderer, it takes time. For a polyp to become cancer, it takes a lot of time. It can take up to 10 years sometimes. So you have 5 to 10 years to go to see a doctor and start a screening. And then so far we suggest people to start this screening by the age of 45. Uh, why 45? Because they have seen that the majority of people who are 45 and above, they have like, high risk of getting cancer. And then another reason is because the studies behind it is based on some American and European studies where the insurance system is very complicated there. Of course, the insurance company does not want to pay for everyone to just go and get a colonoscopy. They feel like the waste of money. So they took like, 45, before it was 50, they have decreased to 45. However, I can tell you from my everyday job, because that's what I do almost every day. We have noticed some younger case of colorectal cancer, people that are below 45, some young men. Maybe last Friday, we had a guy, 33-year-old. He has a really big mass in his colon. That big mass might take maybe, I'm sure it took almost 10 years for it to form. So that means it started to form by the age of maybe 23. So that guy maybe needed to be, scoped or to be checked by age of 23. And because the guidelines say 45, if he goes in there, no one's gonna get him checked. But the good thing we have here in China is like the colonoscopy is very cheap here, very convenient. You can get it done. You can get an appointment in 2-3 days. Compared to the West, the Western countries where you have to wait for maybe months to get your appointment. That's why in China we have more earlier cases of colorectal cancer diagnosed. And I really hope that countries in Africa, or I don't know, we can be equipped enough to allow people to get the screening started earlier than 45. Especially when you have family risk. People with risk factors should start earlier than 45, because when you have already, we talk about when you have your father or your mother who has died from colorectal cancer, you have to start early. You don't have to wait till 45 to start. So let's suppose that you have a relative that has been diagnosed of cancer at the age of 45. And I told you that the cancer might take up to 10 years, 5 to 10 years to develop. So you want to start getting screened earlier, maybe by the age of 30, 35, so that you can catch it earlier. You want to catch that polyp really early so that we can get rid of it. So that's why I say the family history is really important. You need to know the situation of your uncle, your dad, your mom, so that we can know when to start the screening process. And then what is involved in this screening? We have a lot of tests that can be done to screen you. Okay, when you talk about screening, I hope you guys understand the concept. Screening means you don't have the disease yet, and we are going to check you to see if you have it or not. You don't have any symptoms. You don't have any symptoms, but then you're feeling fine. But you go to get checked to see whether you have it or not. So screening for colorectal cancer, we have a lot of things that we can do, a lot of tests that we can do. Those are really complicated names here, but then I will just try to go easy as possible. We can try to detect if you have blood in your stool, because a normal stool should not have blood. So of course, if you can see the blood with your raw eyes, of course, that's like, alarm if you have to go get checked. We talk about having blood in your stool right now. But sometimes the blood that the cancer, especially at the early stage of the cancer, the blood is so little that we cannot see it with your raw eyes. We need, some tests to check if there is blood out there or not. So those like FIT, the fecal immunochemical test, or the GUAIAC, that's a really hard name to pronounce. The GUAIAC-based fecal occult blood test, and even the fecal DNA test, all those tests help us to see if there is blood there or not. So and then those are really easy to do. You just give a little bit of your faces, and then they get checked under the microscope and some other things, and then they can know if you have blood there or not. But as we have said before, not all blood in stools means cancer. We talk about hemorrhoid. I can give blood in the stool too. So those tests we tell the doctor, okay, you need to get more stuff done. And then we have the flexible sigmoidoscopy, and the colonoscopy. Those are the best one for the screening, and then that's what we are doing now. Right now, China has planned to screen every man above 50. We want everyone to get colonoscopy. Korea have started it. Japan has almost finished scoping all the 50 and plus in their country. China is doing that, but because there are a lot of people here, it's getting complicated and slow. However, colonoscopy is like, we're gonna talk about it now later, is the best way to know if you have something happening inside there or not. And then we have other stuff like barium enema, CT, and all those things that can help the doctor screen out some cancer. However, remember that if you want to get screened, if you want to check if you have colon cancer or not, colonoscopy is the best choice. Okay, so basically this is what is the colonoscopy is. We have a tube, and then that tube, it has a camera and the lights there, because you have to know that inside your body is really dark. You don't pay electricity there, everything is dark. So for us to be able to see, we need the lights, and then the scope has like a camera that shows the image directly to a screen. So what we do is like we insert the scope. Is a really flexible tube, it's not rigid, it's flexible, and then very thin. We insert it to the anus, and then we go down up till the end secure, what we call the end part of your large intestine. We don't get into the small intestine. We stop at the end part of the large intestine. So the goal, we inflate you. They're gonna put air inside so that we can see clearly. The goal is what? To find if there is any polyps. We talk about that. To find if there's any other abnormality there, like maybe some bleeding somewhere, or maybe some inflammation, some abnormal inflammation there. So the colonoscopy is the best tool that the gastroenterologists have to screen for cancer. So, okay, as I've been talking about it right now,
okay, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, this is awesome. Before you go ahead, there's a question in the chat box. And Sister Judy is asking, a person with rectal polyp, is it possible for him or her to have colorectal cancer?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's why we do the screening, because when you have a rectal polyp, it depends on the type of polyp that we have. We have different type of polyp, and then the one we are scared of is the adenoma. But those we call the adenomas. Those one are the evil one. Those one are the one that can quickly change into cancer. So they can grow anywhere, in the rectum. So once you have that, you want to get that removed. Yeah.
Okay, so audience, keep your question flowing. Let them come. We are studying, we're learning. It's better to know and take a decision to avoid it or prevent it than wait till later. So before Ducky go on, let me drop in this question. How deadly is colorectal cancer as compared to other cancers that we know?
Thank you for this question. The good news is that, as I've said in the introduction, if you catch it early, you have a really, really, really high, up to 80%, let's even say 95% of chances to get complete cure from it. Some people can even, say up to 100% if it's early. Because we have like our large intestine is really long, like 6 inches long. So if you close down, we just need to cut it, remove that part, and then fix it back, and then you are fine. We don't need the whole 6 feet things to live. So that's why when you find the area, we can remove it and you're fine. But then if it's just like in all the other cancers, if it's spread out of that zone, if it affects the surrounding organs or get inside your blood and travel everywhere, then it becomes really complicated, because then you need some chemotherapy, some radiotherapy, and that becomes really complicated. And then your chance of surviving, even your 5 years survival after treatment, becomes really, really, really low. You can drop at 10%, depending how late you catch it.
Wow, then that's very dangerous then. Yeah,
Uh,
very scary there. So this is not to scare everyone, it's to draw our mind and to create awareness of how dangerous this is. So last question before you continue. Can this colorectal cancer lead to other type of cancers in the body?
okay, all right. We cannot say that it will lead to other cancer, but then once it leaves, because those cancer cells are really stubborn. So once
Mm,
it leaves colon, it can go and find refuge in other part of the body. It can
mm,
go to your liver. So once the colon cancer cells leave the colon and go to the liver and stays there, it's gonna give you liver cancer. It's like it's not actually liver cancer, but it's like a metastasis. That's what we call it. It's like that's the cancer spreading and going everywhere. So
mm,
yeah, it can get to any other part of the body by
mm.
spreading. Yeah, and that's
Wow.
where it becomes complicated. Mhm.
Hmm. Thank you for that. So yeah, go ahead until questions come. So audience, please
Okay,
keep dropping your question in chat box. Doctor is here to answer all these questions. Yeah, go ahead.
so we talked about colonoscopy. So what is it? People really fear that thing, because they feel like, oh man, they're gonna start something, down there, and then I don't know, man, you don't want to expose yourself to that. They have so many things, but then that's why we have to know that uh, that is, the best way so far to find that whether you have it or not. So if you don't do it because you're feeling ashamed or whatever the reason is, if like unfortunately you end up having cancer, you're gonna do it anyway, you know, and then that's gonna be too late. It's just like it's the same way, just like for the ladies, those pap smear when they talk about cervical cancer, and then some ladies they feel ashamed to go and expose their cervix to someone to check and other stuff, and then at late age they end up having cervical cancer. Cervix cancer is something that can be cured to, just like colorectal cancer, we can be cured. Sometimes even cervix cancer can be cured. So if God has given us the chance to cure and effectively treat some diseases, why don't we go and get screened, for them so that we can get treated? So I really hope that after this, that stigma of colonoscopy, the fear that we have about colonoscopy, can leave us, so that we can be more open to it. Uh, Amo is asking a question. My brother Amo say, which hospital in Guangzhou would you recommend we go and do the screening? Okay, okay. Let me be really frank here. Don't Shanta Okay, that's my hospital. Don't Shanta That's where I am. You can contact me. I can help you with that very easy. I can help you book an appointment. I can get it done for you, no problem. But then in case you feel like you don't speak Chinese, because if you don't speak Chinese and then you go to Chinese hospital, you might feel a bit uncomfortable and all this stuff. There are some private uh, hospitals here in Guangzhou, like what is that? What is that English thing? I forgot the English name, but when it comes, I will let you guys know. Sometimes my Chinese takes away my English word. So they are foreign hospital clinic here where we can get checked. But then for sure, our hospital, the one in Ganding, is one of the best. And then you can get really, really well taken care of when you go there. So Amo, when you're ready, just let me know. So is it painful? That's the question. Because of course, when you think about it, they're gonna start something down there. Is it painful? So we have, before, when it came, when the procedure was invented, the tube that they used was thicker and rigid. So it causes a lot of complications like perforation, and the pain was there and all. But now, thanks to the Japanese and some American, the tubes has become more and more flexible, really flexible and thin, to the point that we can say that it's not that painful. So we have two types of colonoscopy that we do. The one we call the sedative colonoscopy and the regular colonoscopy. Sedative colonoscopy means we're gonna be sedated. We're gonna inject you anesthesia, and then you're gonna sleep, and then you won't feel anything. And then the regular one is just like you're gonna be awake, you know whatever is happening, you can feel it, you know. So is financially, of course, sedative colonoscopy is more expensive than the regular one, you know, because you have to pay for the anesthesia and all this stuff. So of course that is painless. You know, you don't feel anything. You sleep when you're awake. Everything is done. You go home. But then you have to know that getting, you know, anesthesia comes with some risk too, even though the risks are really, really low. As long as you don't have any conditions such as some heart diseases or lung diseases, you're fine. You can take the anesthesia, no problem. No, I've done it already twice, so I'm still here. I'm fine, so no problem. And then if you are too skinny, I will suggest you to go for anesthesia. You know why? Because you can imagine, especially when you're skinny and tall, that 6 feet things, you know, like almost 2 meters, 1.5 meters long of large intestine squeezed in your very flat abdomen. And then for that tube to go through it, you know, it's gonna be painful. So if you are skinny, underweight, skinny and tall, it's better you go for anesthesia so that you can minimize the pain. If you have had a lot of like abdominal surgery before, multiple surgeries, we fear some adhesion, you know. So with that, you're gonna make it harder to perform. So when you have anesthesia, when you're sedated, it makes it easier for the doctor and for you too. Beside that, when you do a regular colonoscopy with someone who is well skilled, you know, the pain is not that big. You're gonna feel bloated. Why? Because we have to put gas, put air inside there to dilate it so that we can see clearly. So basically, what you're gonna feel toward the procedure is like you feel bloated because there's air inside there. But once the procedure is over, you suck out all the air, and you're good to go. You know. So is it painful? Depending on the body type. When you're fit like Dr. Frank, you can go for a regular colonoscopy, no problem. You can get it done in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, everything is fine. If you're too skinny, small, you better go for the sedative colonoscopy. So yeah.
Good. Doc, so let me ask this. How big is the tube?
Okay,
is it as big as my arm, my forearm?
No. Okay, so let me think if I remember. We have two types of tubes there because in our hospital we have two main because the best endoscope are produced by the Japanese, by Fujifilm and then Olympus. So the Olympus one is thicker than the other one, but basically it's like between 1 centimeter thick, you know, that's like my finger, 1 centimeter thick, 1 to 1.2. Yeah. So it's not that scary, it's not that big, you know. So it's like maybe, you know what, the biggest you can get like your index, your thumb, yeah. So the size is not a problem there, and then yeah, it just depends on you getting relaxed and then allowing the doctor to do what he does best. Yeah.
Okay.
So we move to the
about
15 minutes.
All
right.
So
we almost.
Yeah, you're almost okay. So, audience, please drop your questions. Keep them coming. Yeah.
As we're talking about it, like, why do one need, you know, a colonoscopy? Why do you have to do it? You know, everyone needs to do it at least once in their life. When you reach the age, now they say 45. If you're 40, go for it. You have to do it once in your life. Why? Number one is because you want to check if you have the polyp, if you have the cancer or not. That's really important. If you have it, even if it's early stage of cancer, now there are many procedures that can even remove without even chopping off your intestine, any early stage of cancer. So apart from screening from cancer, you have to get colonoscopy done sometime because you're not feeling well. You go to the hospital having some cramps, because we talk about cramps and abdominal pain, you know, that can be sign of cancer. Because of that, the doctor might ask you to do colonoscopy. So I just want you guys not to fear that, you know, it's really important for everyone to get it done, you know, especially when you're getting older. And then once you have done the colonoscopy, once you have get your diagnosis, now comes the treatment. The good news is that if the colonoscopy is negative, then you're fine. You don't have anything. You didn't lose anything. Now now you know that the cramp you're having is not because of because of cancer. Now you know that the blood you have in your stool is not due to cancer. You're free, you know. But then if they find the polyp, not a big deal. They can remove it, you know, up till 2 or 3 centimeters big. You know, we can always remove it through the endoscopy. You know, you don't need to go for to look for a surgeon to cut off your intestine. And of course, if it's really big, then you have to go that way. However, the main treatment of colorectal cancer depends on the severity of the cancer. So how do we assess the severity? It depends on how deep the cancer, you know, has infected your colon. So the deeper it gets, the more advanced it is, and the worse is the prognosis. So we want to get it when it's still up there, not too deep, so that we can easily resect it, you know. And then when it gets deep, later it affects the lymph nodes that are around the colon. That's bad news, you know. And then of course the worst is when it's spread all over your body, you know, to your lung, sometimes to the uterus and all those stuff. Then that's a big deal, you know. And the main treatment that we have for that is surgical resection. If the doctor proposes that to you, if you say your colon cancer can be resected, it's a good news. That's when you're 100% cured. However, if you come too late, then they have to refer you to chemo and radiotherapy and all. That's where things become a bit sad and complicated. So I think that's all. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. So I really hope the main takeaway for me tonight is what God has given us the knowledge, you know, to understand how our body works. He has given us the tool to screen and then to diagnose things, you know. So let us not be, it's gonna be foolish. In Proverbs they say, we are called to be wise, not foolish. So you're gonna be foolish if God has given you all those access and then you neglect them, and then at the end you end up getting something that you're not supposed to get at the beginning. So I hope you guys don't have the fear of the colonoscopy anymore. It's not that painful. Choose it wisely according to your body type. You can contact me if you need help in maybe booking for one, or which hospital to go to and other stuff. If you're having any issue about cancer, you can always talk to me about cancer, liver cancer, the tube, esophageal, whatever you have in the digestive system. I'll be welcome to talk to you or take you through it and then answer your question about it. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Wow. This is very profound. This is great. We have a question in the chat box for you from John Peter. He asked, how long is the screening and how long for the treatment as well? Both screening and treatment. How long?
All right. So the screening, as I said, some doctor will start with like looking for blood in the stool. That doesn't take any time. Just have to take your faces there, you know. You take it from your home, you give your stool to the doctor, you check it in 1-2 days, you have the result. But the colonoscopy itself, it can take up till, you know, from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. We are required to spend at least, I wanted to show you a video of one, but unfortunately the video was not uploaded. We are required to spend at least 6 minutes to observe the whole colon, 1.5 meters, because we don't want to rush through it and miss stuff, you know. So the least it can get is 6 minutes, 6-7 minutes, but then sometimes it can go up to 30 minutes, depending on how hard it is to perform a colonoscopy. You know? So, and then how much it costs, it depends on where you go to. If you go to private hospital or public hospital, it's relatively cheaper. I think apart Africa, in the developed country, China has the cheapest colonoscopy in the world, you know, apart from Africa. If you want to get one done in Hong Kong, for example, which is part of China, or maybe in the US, you can pay up to $1,000. In China, you can pay with anesthesia, you can pay 1,000 yuan. You know.
Mm.
1,000 VN, 1,000 is a big difference. But if you go to some private hospital, because of the service you get there, the nurses smiling at you, giving you coffee and all, ain't gonna be much expensive compared to when you come to the public hospital.
Mm.
However, if you want to do a regular colonoscopy, the one without anesthesia is really cheap. I think it's almost 450 yuan without anesthesia, 450 yuan. So it's really cheap, And then, yeah, you should think about it and then take the opportunity maybe. And then he asked about the treatment. The treatment, as I said, depends on what they are doing to you. If it's just a polyp, to remove a polyp from my place, it's around maybe 600 or so. I'm not so sure because I'm not in charge of the money there. I just do my job, but it's like almost 600. But then if it become like big, they have to resect it. They have to take out some part of your intestine, then become something else. Then if you have to add chemotherapy, if you have to add radiotherapy, then it becomes more expensive. So yeah, it's hard to give you a specific price. My prayer for you is not to get it, just to get screened. Colonoscopy is nice for you. Yeah,
Mm.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abasa, for such a profound um, lectures or alert awareness you've created on colorectal cancer. So 450 RMB for colonoscopy, not
A regular one,
expensive.
no anesthesia.
Yeah, not expensive. So guys, Dr. Abasa is here. So could you please drop your contact if anyone wants to contact you?
Sure.
How would a person, probably in China, we all know what WeChat, but you can also drop your WhatsApp line for those outside China, or email. Yeah, so you can contact him and book an appointment, or if you're not in China, you can seek for more advice on what to do if you want to go for checkup or any of that sort, or if you want to fly to China, to do that. I think it's possible. Yeah. Closing up, Dr. Abasa has given us a detailed account on colorectal cancer and colonoscopy, that is for the screening and all that. So believers, this is not to scare you one more time. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about cancer. This is the word I don't want to hear. When I hear the word cancer, I want to shout in the name of Jesus. Like, no one wants to hear that. It's so scary, right? But it is great to be aware of how it comes and how to treat it or how to prevent it, yeah, so that you not even get there, because it's something, you don't even want to wish for your worst enemy. It's kind of a death sentence, right? But if you take necessary precautions, you will not even get there. So as doctor has said, and as I've reiterated, let us get used to certain lifestyle and abandon certain lifestyle that will increase the risk. I've talked again and again about this. Most of the times, exercise, eat good food. I've tried to avoid alcohol, smoking, and all these things. It is good for your own health sake. It is good for your own health sake. And as the Bible says, study to show thyself approved. All right, study to show thyself approved. That is why we've gathered here tonight, to study, to learn, and to take wisdom from all what Doctor has shared. And the Bible also says that the fear of God, right, is the beginning of knowledge. So if you fear him, there are certain things you will not do. If you fear God, this is biblical anatomy. So talking about the science aspect, we also have to talk about the biblical aspect, right? So if you fear God, there are so many things you abstain from, right? For the sake of the fear. And this abstinence will help you to be able to live a lively, or to live a God pleasing lifestyle that will be void of attraction to diseases or sicknesses or any of these things that we've talked about. So let us discipline ourselves. Bible talks about discipline, self-discipline, right? Let us mortify ourselves. The Bible talks about mortification of your flesh. To mortify your body or your flesh means to control it. Don't let the worldly feelings, the pleasures in the world drive you to do certain things which will lead you to damnation. Mortify your flesh, kill the body. Don't go. I'm not saying that. I mean, put a body to death means that do not satisfy or listen to the demands of the body, rather listen to the demands of the spirit, right? That is why we say the Bible talked about crucifixion of your body. Crucify your body means that surrender your body to this to God, and he will help you to control all the lustful desires that will emerge. So in closing up, this is what we have learned tonight, and I believe we've all taken great note of that, and we're gonna work on that. Let us change our lifestyle, and all these sicknesses will not be part of our books. So, Doc, as we are closing, I know you've given us your last words. Is there any final things you want to say goodbye to our audience tonight?
One sentence that I can say is just like, God is the ultimate healer, so we have to rely on him in whatever we do, even though the doctor sometimes might say like, oh, your cancer is already advanced and all this stuff. We believe that God is the ultimate healer, and then in whatever we do, whatever situation we find ourselves in, we should give him our situation, and he can heal us despite the prognosis the doctor gives to our life. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. God is our ultimate healer. If you have faith that God is your healer, then put your faith to work by living godly lifestyle, by going to check up, and by contacting the right people for the right information. I've dropped a link to our last episode on cancer by Mrs. Deborah Labi, a cancer immunologist from Norway, University of Oslo. Very brilliant lady. And also another link to hypertension from Dr. Balfour Sapon. They're all my good friends. So you can, check it out. These are some of the things you have to keep on learning to be alert. Thank you all. God bless you for joining. Have a good afternoon. Have a good night wherever you are. And stay tuned for the next episode. God bless you. Bye-bye.